So we are in the Lawrence Cemetery.
Lawrence Cemetery in De Pere, Wisconsin is a place heavily discussed about online. There are many accounts of paranormal activity, such as this comment on hauntedplaces.org that states they saw a spirit wearing a hoodie standing in the middle of the cemetery, or this comment that says they were attacked by a demon-like entity that left a handprint mark around one of their necks. However, there are also comments denying any activity at all. There is also a lot of diverse claims, such as seeing a man in a black hoodie or a spirit in a white KKK uniform. There is even a claim of a ghost bike rider. The conflicting stories indicate falseness, however there is one thing in common with nearly all of the stories. Everyone had a bad feeling in this cemetery. The spirit or spirits were not good. Some went as far as to say demonic. So what is the real story? Is this cemetery really haunted? Is the Lawrence Cemetery even safe? That's what we were there to find out.
So right now we are just going to walk around and try and see if we can get any sort of EMF response.
During the daytime portion of our investigation, we used our EMF detector to locate where the energy in the cemetery was, if any. Another online comment we found stated that EMF readings were off the charts in the cemetery, so we walked around hoping the comment was correct.
Spirits here, and they want to communicate with us. We're not here to harm you, we only want to talk to you.
There's someone coming in here.
An unexpected visitor entered the cemetery, forcing Matthias to move his car.
So Matthias just had to move his car. So, yeah, this place is really weird because they can look right through their windows and see us in here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of uncomfortable.
Definitely.
As Matthias returned and we swapped equipment and noticed something.
I feel a cold spot right there.
A cold spot is felt when a spirit or paranormal energy is present. This wasn't the only time this happened.
There's literally nothing.
Nothing on the meter?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of audio contamination here.
Yeah, dogs.
Yeah, so I don't think we can use the tape recorder here.
There was a 0.1 for like a second.
I saw.
Matthias immediately noticed a quick spike in the EMF detector. However, the quickness of the spike means it was most likely just jostled a bit, causing the spike. That 0.1 cannot be counted as sufficient evidence.
You want to go over there, like in the middle? Try and get away from the leaf blower.
Another 0.1 for. I think it's just me shaking it.
Why is it everywhere we go? Somebody always has a leaf blower.
Okay, get him in. Damn it! What the are you doing? That's true. Last time. Oh, that was so annoying.
Another cold spot right here. I wish I had a thermometer thing to gauge the temperature. This is Katie.
And felt another cold spot. This one was near a grave marked Katie. What is the significance, you ask? Katie is the name of a street near the cemetery, and is an alternate name for the cemetery itself. Could the spirit of Katie be what lurks at the Lawrence, or Katie Cemetery?
That's so creepy.
What is that? 0.2.
Really? Is it from... Oh, hey! That was not from walking.
It's this thing.
How?
It's a rusty piece of metal.
After receiving a slight EMF spike from a bent iron bar, we checked out the building close by to make sure the energy wasn't from there.
These are just the shed for maintenance.
Just make sure it doesn't give anything off.
To which we found the energy spike, though small, was entirely unexplained.
Alright, I say we get something to eat and then we come back at night.
Let's do it.
This would be spooky at night.
Yeah.
As nighttime fell upon the Lawrence Cemetery, the mood, as the legend stated, did turn much creepier. We learned from our daytime portion that there was too much noise contamination to properly utilize the EVP recorder, and though we only found 2 cold spots and a 0.2 energy spike during the daytime, we expected to receive much more evidence upon our return.
So let's just take some still images and is on the EMF reader to see if we get anything spooky. If there are any spirits here, feel free to make contact with us at any time. If there are, I want you to show up in this picture in 3, 2, 1. Dude, the second I took it, the camera.
I tried asking the entity or entities to show up in pictures a few more times, only to elicit the same response, the camera telling me to insert new batteries, which in and of itself is a paranormal indicator.
Then the male spirit acknowledges where the batteries were drained. That is proof that spirits do in fact gain energy from electronics.
Every time I ask it to show up, the camera dies immediately. Maybe it just doesn't want to be seen.
When I told the spirit to show up in the picture,
I want you to show up in this picture.
one actually obliged, hovering creepily in the background of the photo. Little did I know, we received 2 more orbs in the last 2 pictures as well. This one was taken first out of the 3, and the orb is hovering in the background, much like the 3rd picture. The second one, taken right after, shows an orb much closer, up towards the top of the photo. Unfortunately, only the 3rd picture, the one where the camera died, can be counted as paranormal evidence. As you can see, I was standing somewhat still as I took it. The other 2 photos, I was walking on a gravel path, which means dust could possibly show up in the photos. Granted, the first one did seem pretty far back to be dust kicked up from my light steps. However, to be safe, we will only count the one.
If there's an entity here, I want you to come and scare me. Okay? Make me know that you're here. Feel free, make yourself known. I think they said like provoking it's bad or something.
Well, then why would you provoke it?
Because I want a response. Just don't kill me, please.
As Anne caught up with us, she told us she didn't catch anything on the EMF detector. That's when I remembered the iron bar from before.
Do you want to go over by the iron thing really quick and just see? Sure.
We then headed over to see if the iron bar still had mysterious energy around it.
Do you want me to do the...
Necrophonic, do you want to try?
Yeah, we could do that.
Is it using your data?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the data. Here, I'll hold this. I'll keep it away.
I got excited there for a second. Do you want me to take the flashlight?
Sure. Whoa. What was that noise? Man, what? It was really close. There's no... if it was an animal, we would have heard more.
As we began our necrophonic session, we were interrupted by a loud scuffling sound very nearby. Since we were moving around, it's hard to tell what sound is what from our camera's audio, but here's a replay. Can you hear a movement that isn't ours?
Whoa.
Our physical alarm shows that we definitely heard a noise that wasn't us, but since we heard animals earlier, we cannot count this as 100% paranormal evidence.
Is there anybody here?
We began the necrophonic session in the Lawrence Cemetery. This is a mobile app that sends out short, random vocal samples in hopes that spirits can piece together words or phrases to communicate through. In the past, we've caught astounding things using the necrophonic, such as a spirit saying Anne, 50, and I loved you. This time we captured something pretty creepy as well. We didn't hear it at the time, but a woman's voice clear as day says, I'm with your husband. Were these the last words of a woman before she was killed by the angry wife? Is this a supposed demon playing a character? Is this just the app giving off what appears to be a confession? Who knows? But this is just paranormal enough to go on the docket. After that voice, we received nothing further, so we switched to our most successful ghost hunting tool, the spirit box. Before we even started asking questions, a male voice came through, possibly making fun of the speaker's volume, saying, immediately followed by a female voice talking to the first one, saying, like she didn't want us to know they were there. Were they used to living in the shadows?
Oh, it's a siren. Moving closer. You want to turn off the light just in case?
We heard a police siren, and out of fear of being kicked out of the cemetery, I instructed Matthias to turn off his flashlight. As he began to point the camera towards the road, I received a great piece of evidence. And then told Matthias to move the camera back to capture it.
Get the camera over here. I just had like a 1.5 on this thing.
We failed to capture the energy spike on camera, but we did capture something else. As I instructed Matthias to move the camera, you can clearly hear a voice through the spirit box ask,
Can you tell us what your name is?
The first name that was captured is hard to make out. We think it sounds like either Nathan, which doesn't make sense as it's a female voice, or Agatha, but it's hard to tell. The second voice I heard in real life as well, but I couldn't make it out perfectly. Upon editing playback, I quickly realized that I was listening to my sister's voice saying her name. Now listen to this clip.
Say your name.
Emma.
They sounded nearly identical, don't they?
Emma.
So, was this the so-called demon mimicking her voice? That is something demons are said to do. But if so, why?
Where would you like us to go?
As I asked where the spirit or spirits would like us to go, meaning in the cemetery, we received some of the best paranormal evidence to date. A spirit yelling through the spirit box.
Where would you like us to go? Where would you like us to go?
This begs the question, was this a good entity trying to save us from the bad one, or just a tired soul wanting to be left in peace?
Can you make this spike show us that you're here?
This was a long time for voices to come through, communicate with us and each other, and make sense. This time I asked the entity or entities to pass through the EMF detector field to notify us of energy. When I asked if they could make it spike, a voice said, to which it immediately stated afterwards, as if instructing a female spirit named Abby to try to pass through the field. Then you can see Anne begin to tell us about a dot on the ghost radar, and we turn away, not looking at the EMF detector. But then, through the spirit box, a female voice belonging to Abby possibly says, and sounded disappointed, like she tried to light up the EMF detector, but couldn't. This was a long strand of concentric voices, but wait till you hear Abby's voice again.
It disappeared. As soon as I said that, it went away.
As Anne tells us that the dot, or spirit, on the radar went away, Abby's voice lets out a groan of disappointment. As if she's sad the dot went away. These voices prove that, though there may be a creepy mimicking dark presence at the cemetery, the spirit apparently named Abby is helpful and wanted our investigation to succeed.
Is there a dark presence here?
This voice sounds almost as if it is mocking me calling it a dark presence. Definitely a creepy voice to add to the docket. I then asked the question again.
Is there a dark presence here?
This response is much creepier. The female voice, possibly Abby's again, says, please don't, like, don't tempt it.
Is there a dark presence here?
Followed up by a low creepy voice playfully saying, followed by the man's voice from earlier saying, was he trying to tell us the low creepy voice was the demon pretending to play dumb? Were we talking with the famed demon of the Lawrence Cemetery? As we neared the side of the cemetery, we began to shut our lights off. As the three of us were conversing, we received two voices, both basically saying the same thing. Voice number one appears to be female and says, voice number two appears to be a creepy male voice that says, both appear to be instructing us to go deeper into the cemetery. Towards the middle was where the hooded demon was said to lurk. That begs the question, was this creepy voice the demon himself trying to coax us? Even creepier, was he also mimicking the female voice? We already know it mimics people. Was it trying to use any tactic it could to get us to follow its bidding? Then we shut off the spirit box. Feeling like we didn't capture enough evidence, I took out my phone and DSLR camera in an attempt to capture a few more orbs in one last attempt. Out of the 18 pictures I took, not one of them had any orbs. However, a picture taken by Anne revealed an orb. Was this a spirit trying to enter the photo? Lawrence Cemetery in De Pere, Wisconsin has a terrifying backstory. However, it being on the internet has given it many conflicting and too crazy to be true stories. What we did uncover from our time there was a dark entity. It mimicked my sister's voice and the voice of a woman. The other spirits there seemed to be afraid of it. The only question left unanswered is, what is the significance of the middle of the cemetery? Why was the demon so eager for us to go over there? That is a question for another time, but until that question is answered, maybe stay away from the Lawrence Cemetery at night, for nobody knows what might happen if you